All right, today we're diving into two skills that are honestly make or break for any software architect: diagramming and presenting. Because here's the thing, it's not enough to just have a brilliant technical vision. You have to be able to communicate it. So let's break down how the best architects turn those complex ideas floating around in their heads into clear, actionable blueprints that people can actually build.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. You could have this world-changing architectural concept, but if you can't get the managers to sign the checks and the developers to get excited about building it, well, it's just gonna stay an idea. Communication isn't just a soft skill here, it is the job. So where do we even start with all this? Well, it turns out there's one foundational principle that connects everything we're going to talk about today, from making a simple diagram to giving a big presentation. It's the secret to creating a single, unified vision that everyone, and I mean everyone, can understand and actually get behind. That core principle is called representational consistency. I know, it sounds a little academic, but trust me, this is your North Star. All it really means is that as you zoom in and out from the 50,000-foot view down to a single tiny component, you never let your audience get lost. You've always got to show them how the pieces connect. You always provide context. And check this out. This slide is the perfect example. On the left, you've got the whole system, right? The big picture. Then, on the right, we're drilling down into just the recipes component. But see those dotted lines? That's the magic right there. They're like a visual anchor, constantly reminding you where this detailed little box fits into the grand scheme of things. It's so simple, but it's what keeps your audience from ever thinking, wait, where are we now? Okay, so with that principle in mind, let's get practical and talk about the actual skill of diagramming. This is where those abstract ideas really start to take shape. It's where you forge a shared blueprint for the entire team, giving everyone a common language to work from. Let me ask you something, and be honest. Have you ever done this? You spend like half a day in some fancy tool, getting all the boxes and lines perfectly aligned, and now you don't want to change it, even if someone comes along with a better idea. It's a classic trap, and we've all fallen into it. Yeah, this trap actually has a name: irrational artifact attachment. So what's the solution? It's simple. Especially in the early messy stages of design, use low-fidelity tools. Seriously, whiteboards, sticky notes, a pen and paper, these are your best friends. Why? Because they're disposable. It encourages you to experiment and collaborate. Nobody gets all defensive about an idea that took 30 seconds to sketch on a napkin. Save the fancy, high-polished tools for later, once the core ideas are solid. Now, when you are ready to move to a digital tool, you should look for a few key features that'll make your life way easier. Layers are a must-have for hiding and showing different levels of detail. Stencils and templates are huge for consistency, making sure everyone's diagrams look and feel the same. And magnets? Oh, magnets are a small thing that makes a huge difference. They just snap your connector lines perfectly into place so everything looks clean and professional. Okay, what about standards? A big one, the old-timer, is UML, the Unified Modeling Language. Now, it used to be this massive, sprawling standard for everything, but these days, its use is really focused in. Architects mostly just use it for two key things: class diagrams, to show the static structure of your code, and sequence diagrams, to show how those objects actually talk to each other over time. But UML isn't the only game in town. A much more modern and, frankly, popular alternative is Simon Brown's C4 model. It gives you 4 different levels to tell your story. You start way out at the system context, then zoom into containers like apps and databases, then into the components inside them, and finally, if you need to, all the way down to the code-level class. It's a fantastic way to look at your system from different altitudes. And then, for those of you working in huge, complex companies, there's Archimate. It's an open standard, and its whole philosophy is to be as small as possible. It purposely avoids being overly complex. It gives you just enough notation to get the job done, and that simplicity has made it a super popular choice for enterprise architects. You know, regardless of what standard you pick, these guidelines right here are universal. Always title and label everything, no excuses. Use thick, clear lines with arrows so you can see the direction of flow. Be consistent with your shapes. Use color with purpose to help people understand, not just to make it look pretty. And for goodness sake, if a shape could mean 2 different things, add a key. A confusing diagram is so much worse than no diagram at all. And if you remember only one single thing about drawing lines, please make it this. This is one of the few rules that is almost universally accepted. Solid lines mean a synchronous call.
I call you, I wait for your response. Dotted lines mean asynchronous. I fire off a message and forget about it. It's such a simple little cue that tells you a massive amount about how the system behaves. Okay, so you've made this amazing, crystal clear diagram. You followed all the rules. Now what? Well, now you have to present it. Let's switch gears and talk about the art of storytelling, because a good presentation isn't just about showing slides. It's about taking your audience on a journey.
So what's the secret to a really great technical presentation? I'll tell you, it's all about manipulating time. You, the presenter, are in complete control of the pace. By using animations and transitions thoughtfully, you guide your audience's attention. You reveal the story piece by piece instead of just dumping it all on them at once.
And the absolute most powerful tool for doing this is the incremental build. Instead of throwing a super complex diagram on the screen and watching everyone's eyes glaze over, you build it step by step. This keeps your audience right there with you, focused on the exact point you're making in that exact moment. For example, look at this slide. This is what not to do. We call this the spoiler. By showing everything at once, you've completely lost control. Your audience is immediately trying to read ahead and figure out the ending, and guess what? They've completely stopped listening to you. Game over. You've lost them. But now, look at this. Same information, but we're building it up. We start with the first piece, explain it, click. The next piece appears, we explain that. Click. You see, you're building a narrative. You're creating a little suspense. And most importantly, you're keeping everyone's eyes and ears exactly where you want them. This is how you tell a story with architecture. And this all leads to a really critical distinction that so many people get wrong. You have to ask yourself, are you creating a presentation or an info deck? A presentation slide, like you see on the left, is meant to be presented by a speaker. It's sparse, it's visual. An info deck, on the other hand, is meant to be emailed around and read on its own. It's dense with text. The biggest mistake you can make is trying to present an info deck. It just doesn't work.
All right, let's put a bow on all this. Let's recap the essential tools you need to pack in your communication toolkit.
First, always, always, always maintain representational consistency so your audience never gets lost. Second, make sure your diagrams have a purpose and follow the basic guidelines to keep them clear. Third, when you present, don't just show slides. Tell a story using incremental builds. And finally, remember to choose the right tool for the job. Sometimes that's a $5,000 piece of software, and sometimes it's just a whiteboard. So there you have it. Look, having a great architectural idea is only the starting line. The real magic happens when you can share that idea in a way that gets other people excited and ready to build. So, with these tools in your pocket, the only real question left is, are you ready to bring your next vision to life?